Hello again, my lovely listeners, queridas, queridos, queridas, and for anyone who does not speak Spanish, the word queridas is just another. It's the word. See, there we go again. My words are just getting all messed up. But the word queridas translates to dear or darling. And so queridas would be the feminine version, queridos would be the masculine version, and then querides is what I would say the gender neutral version. And let me know if you all like that or if you prefer to be called something else. I just have been using it a lot because I really like Georgina Rodriguez. I really love her show, I Am Georgina, on Netflix. It's like one of the few shows that has kept me like captivated the entire time. And like I'm probably gonna do another video on this or like an audio at some point is just some of my favorite modern Latina role models or inspirations. There's quite a few, so I will definitely take notes on that. But thank you for being here again for another episode on Wandering Thoughts of a Muse. And just so you know, for if it's your first time listening to one of my podcast episodes, you should know that my thoughts really do wander off, and I do have some difficulties with speaking. I can be a little repetitive. I can stutter a lot too. Uh, my hearing's also really bad. So there's a lot of difficulty with that, but hopefully this helps me out. And so today, well, first off, I should probably ask you all how your week has been. What did you do over the weekend? I had a very fun weekend with my younger sister. We were exploring a bit in Old Town Scottsdale, and it was my younger sister's first time visiting. Um, we had a lot of fun. We discovered a lot of cute shops. There's some museums there too, if you're interested in it. And also, we tried out a really amazing coffee shop, which left us just um, so in love with um the matcha lattes that we had there. For sure, it's a cafe we're definitely gonna go back to when we can. And I will be doing a blog post eventually on my favorite cafe spots in Arizona because there's quite a few, and then there's also some that I still really want to explore. So, um, there's that. And for this episode, I actually don't have any notes, so I'm just kind of going to wing it, and hopefully it turns out all right. But what I was thinking of today was just some childhood memories, and maybe because I was going around in Scottsdale with my younger sister, um and that may have just like triggered like a lot of like memories and nostalgia because my parents used to work in Scottsdale, and they used to take me to a lot of different spots in Scottsdale. Um, and I'm remembering back and also acknowledging the reality of what my parents, well, more specifically my mom, she what she went through as a young mom, um, in a completely different culture, society, um, not knowing the language either, and not knowing how to drive. Like I'm just realizing that, oh, like my mom, like I don't like it's hard for me to just imagine like how much stress she must have been under. And speaking of my mom, I have mentioned in some of the other podcasts um, that I do not talk to my mom. We have a very difficult relationship. We had some good times. There were positive like moments between us, but it's too it's not enough to look past every every bad thing she did towards me and things that she still continues to do. And uh well, I will definitely talk about this like more on, because even though my relationship with her is just very difficult, and like I cannot be around her at all. Like the last time that I tried to maintain some sort of like peace with her, I ended up calling the police because she gets really aggravated, and it's to the point where she's becoming very violent towards me, and it's just not worth it anymore. And I think I've mentioned it too, that she's very difficult to talk to, a very domineering personality, and extremely religious. Oh my gosh. I like, oh, that's another episode too that I'll talk about eventually. But like my mom is very, very much about God, the Pope. And she does refer to me as like some demon witch child, or that she doesn't know where I came from. And there was actually this one time where I was sleeping over, because my younger siblings still live with her, and I was visiting, and I was sleeping, sharing the room with my younger siblings. And my mom, she always has like a huge stash of like religious trinkets and like figurines, and just like objects that you would normally see in like a church. And she bought this sword, that's this wooden sword, and it's pretty heavy. um she bought this sword of Archangel Michael. And there was this one time where where it was in the morning, and I was sharing the room with my siblings. I was about to wake up, but she came into the room, and she starts like saying these like things, like just whispering these like things. And she's always done this. She's like, there's been several times where I've caught her talking like out loud to herself, and she doesn't realize that it comes off a little creepy. Um, but yeah, so she came into the room, and she's like whispering these weird things. And I just stayed really still, and I had the blanket like over my face. or like partially over my face. Um, and I was like trying to like just be really still, and then I just like just like open my eyes just a little bit, and I'm seeing this like sword being waved over my body. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I think this was like a few like either days or weeks before like that whole fiasco with the police like went down. And also this was like about the like one of this was about the time when I was thinking like, oh, I don't think I can be here any longer, which it's hard because I have my younger siblings there. And my youngest brother, he has special needs, and he obviously does not understand weird family dynamics. Like he just like his ideal like home life is to be with everyone in the family. But because I am 14 years older than him, he's kind of already used to knowing that like I'm still a part of the family and I visit often, or I talk to him like over video chat often. Like he knows that I'm still there, and that like I still like try to visit when I can. And so we're not really separated. Like so I wouldn't say like he gets necessarily sad, but um we have a lot of good moments together. It's like me and my younger siblings, so we're very close to each other. Um, but yeah, that's how religious my mom can be. She can take it way too far, and it's uh, she's just so difficult. But aside from all of that, um, I get why she is the way she is, and even though she is a very difficult person to get along with, she did do some things right when it came to taking care of me, most of all, keeping me safe. Um, and honestly protecting my innocence. I think I want to say that she I think she sheltered me a bit too much. Like I and yeah, so I think she sheltered me a little too much, but also at the same time I wasn't sheltered. I don't know, like I'm not sure if that makes sense, but like I know the one thing that she was like she did not like me doing at all was talking to other people, and this is probably why my speech abilities are not that good, but also I know my social skills, they took a pretty hard hit because my mom was always like super controlling over who I interacted with. And to be fair, she didn't have like good reasons for it. One being that she was just worried that an adult might try to like influence me in a bad way and make me say very private things about her or like just the family in general. And then eventually she told me that it's because that I was a young girl and I was very friendly with people at the time and more open, and people kind of took advantage of that and they wanted to know like very personal details about her. And um oh, I think also another thing was that eventually she would find out through whoever that person was that asked me, and I ended up saying something that I was not thinking at all about, like how it would affect my mom. I just said I said something like out of good spirits, but that person used it maliciously as a way to like either like get back at my mom or just like start drama with her. And yeah, as I did get older, I did start to see that, oh, like she's actually right about um like there is actual, well, like she's right on why um there are certain people I shouldn't be talking to. It's because they don't have good intentions for me or for her. um and actually I'm thinking back to this one time in my early childhood, and this is one day that I always, or like one specific day that I always refer to as the day that I found out that I was Mexican, or like just the day that it hit me that, oh, we're not American and we don't do things the way most American families do. I don't know if I said that correctly, but we're not exactly like the typical American family that I was always seeing on TV or like in animations. Um and this was around when I was like 3 years old. Um we were living in Tempe, Arizona, and I have some horror stories about Tempe. Oh no, like actually just yesterday I was coming back, or I was leaving the city after doing a job, like a side gig, and I was trying to get back to my car. And I don't know where this man came out, like where the like I didn't even know like this man was like behind me. Uh and thank goodness like I was just like near my car when I saw him like rapidly approaching. He was speed walking, and I was already like getting into my car, but I did see him, and he stops like under a tree, and there was like there was like I think it was like an electricity box, or one of those types of boxes that you see all over the place, or in like in specific areas of like near buildings. And he gets out his phone, and from my perspective, it looks like he's pointing it like at me, and or it just looks like he's recording me. And oh, I was about to just like chill for a bit because I was just gonna like just like take a breather from like having done like my side gig and all. And well, I noticed that like it looked like he was observing me and that he was recording me. And so I was just like, I don't think I think I'm gonna go home right now. So I lock the door, get like or like just start the car, and just like pull out of there, like out of that parking space immediately. And as soon as I started pulling out of that parking space, he starts walking again, and it just kind of seemed like he was trying to get closer to the car. But I had I was already like leaving, and he ended up going the other way. But as you can tell that by now that there's been some creepy weird things that have happened in Tempe. In my most recent blog, I brought up some not so positive news about Tempe. uh And see, this is why I'm thinking back to like what my mom went through during that time when we were living in Tempe, because I'm just like, oh my God, like pobrecita, because like I feel so sad, and like I am like in shock of what she might have gone through, and I was just too young to understand like how bad it was, or just like how unsafe that situation was. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, my poor mom. um like she really was in survival mode the entire time. And can you imagine like how much I must have annoyed her too? um I know for sure that I annoyed her, especially because I was very very talkative and a very precocious child too. And uh I think I was also very needy. I know I wanted to be close to her all the time. um and well, I mean, I was 3, like I was 3 years old, and I think most kids aren't usually like that. But yeah, so Tempe, Arizona is there are some good things about the city. But if you're a woman, you really should not be out at nighttime, especially, oh my goodness, like this whole thing that happened with that man. This was like around like 11, like yeah, like it was like around like 10:30 to 11. No, 10:30, yeah, because I usually finish my side gigs at like 10:30. Um, like it was early in the morning when he did that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is why like I get a little anxious like whenever I do work in Tempe, or I just want to visit like one of my favorite cafes that's in Tempe. And there are some cool spots to visit. It's just that because of all these weird experiences, like creepy experiences, I just I just don't really like to leave my car, or I just hate being away from my car for that long. Or like yeah, I probably have like a lot of anxiety from being in the city. So that's just a heads up for anybody that's new to Arizona, or you're thinking about visiting Arizona. Tempe, I know a lot of people say that it reminds them of Chicago. There's a very popular lake down there too, and it is very pretty. I remember as a kid, I really liked visiting the Tempe Town Lake. Um, and yeah, when I was a little girl, I thought the area that I lived in was like so magical. And Um, now that I'm older, I'm just like, I was clearly a child, a little, like, probably a little delusional. Like, what was I thinking? Thinking this was such a wonderful place. And so going back to those, like, the apartments that we lived in, and I believe this was like our first home in Arizona, like after my parents immigrated here. um I believe we were in California for a while. I was most likely too young because I do not remember. um yeah, I most of my memories that like are very solid, they're usually starting in Tempe. So yeah, I want to say that these apartments that we lived in, they were the first, it was our first home, I mean. And we were on the second floor, and actually now that I'm speaking on it, I think there were a few times where in that apartment, like, complex, I'm pretty sure there were a few times where I was scared to go out, or like somebody scared me. I do remember several times being afraid of like certain neighbors. Like I didn't know what it was, and I think that might have been one of the reasons why my mom eventually like just pressured my dad to just get us out of there. Um but again, because I was a little girl, I had a very idealistic perception of the world around me, totally blind to the reality of what was around us. And most likely I was just more focused on like the good things at the time. And in general I kind of am that way. I'm like I kind of do prefer to be more on the positive side. Um like regardless of my situation, like I kind of just always tend to be more like, oh well, maybe this isn't going out or going well for me, but there's that's going well for me, so let's just focus on that. And so one of the things that I did find so magical from those apartments was that I could see the Tempe Town Lake from the apartments where we were living. And I do remember that one of my favorite things to do was to look out the window. Actually, it's still one of my favorite things, I would say. Like I like where my workspace, like my drawing space, it's I always need to have it somewhere near a window. Like it just makes me feel more productive, I would say. And then also I like that I can get sunlight too. Um lets me daydream too. That's another reason why my artist name is Daydreaming Muse. um but yeah, I do remember looking out the window a lot and just like always gazing at the Tempe Town Lake. And then during the sunsets, it was always super beautiful. Um, but again, that was me as a little girl with a very, very idealistic perception of the world that I was living in, not at all paying attention to the real dangers of the world. And also, I don't know if this was just me that had a big ego, but when I was a little girl, I think I thought I was invincible because there were quite a few times where um I was not paying attention to my surroundings, and now that I'm older and I like realize what was going on at the time, I'm just like, that was not safe at all. Like, what on earth was I thinking? Um, but oh yeah, so yeah, that was just like some positive things that came from living in those apartment complexes, or in that uh, in that apartment complex. Just that I liked seeing the Tempe Town Lake. And I do remember that I used to tell my mom that I was a mermaid and that I lived in that lake at one point. It's not a very clean lake, I would say, and it's not magical once you're really there. Um, it's nice and recreational, but again, the city of Tempe does have some creepy things going on. I do not recommend going there alone. If you're a woman, please have someone go with you. Um, but going back to these apartment complexes, or that apartment complex, and on this one specific day that I'm trying to talk about, um, I remember that my mom was like, she had just made breakfast for me and she was about to take a shower. And I was just supposed to be watching a movie, and um yeah, I was probably just like watching the movie and just like playing around. I liked dancing a lot back then too. Um my mom usually left the door slightly open so that way she would be able to hear me and just like know that I was okay. And she would frequently like call out like, Dianita, ¿estás bien? And then I would just be like, sí, like, I don't know. um, I was probably just, I estoy playing. um, and then, so I was probably just watching my movie as usual, playing around, waiting for my mom to come out. And I heard this really loud knock on the door. And I remember just like this jolt of fear like coming over me, and I froze, and like I got all quiet, and I don't think I thought of telling my mom. I think I wanted to try to see who it was. And so I went to the window, and I tried to like stealthily look outside, or like take a peek outside and see who it was. And there's this young man smiling back at me, and he's looking directly at me, and I remember again feeling very terrified. It was a young um he was a young man, um Latino, and I remember he had a gray shirt, and he might have had gel in his hair. I think I remember that, like noticing or thinking that, or like I remember thinking that his hair looked really shiny. But he was looking at me, and I remember just being like frozen, and I he just smiles at me, and I think he said like hola, like me puedes abrir la puerta, and or can you open the door for me? and he's like gesturing to the door. And I remember just like I was just frozen the entire time. I was just in fear. And I think my mom may have been calling me, but I probably was not like paying attention to, or like it probably was just not registering in my head because I was just like scared that this person was looking at me, and I felt like I had to do what he was saying. So I did open the door and I let him inside, and he just calmly walks in. And I just remember staring at him, and I'm I'm scared and I'm also confused. Um and he just like sits down on the couch. He had like big jeans. Not necessarily those like what are what are they called? Jenko jeans. Like I think those were popular back in like the 90s, early 2000s, but like I just remember that his like he was wearing all gray. Um and that like his clothes were just like big. He was a very like thin person, but the clothes that he was wearing was like oversized. He had both of his hands like on his legs, and like he's looking at me and he's smiling at me, and I'm pretty sure he was saying things to me, but I don't know. Like I think I was just shaking my head, and most likely I was like just like agreeing to anything that he like said to do. Maybe I don't remember him at all like ever like getting super close to me. He just like did his own thing and he just talked to me. And I think my mom eventually started to hear like his voice, and she of course like she got freaked out, and I think I'm starting to like hear that she's calling my name, like Dianita, Diana, con quién estás hablando? Like who are you talking to? And I'm still like in like freeze mode, and she then comes out of the bathroom with like wrapped with a towel, and she's like I remember her gasping and like in like fear that there was this guy just sitting on the couch, and he I think he was trying to talk to my mom. I remember he sounded like friendly and like warm towards her, and my mom was just yelling at him like get out of the house, like salte de mi casa or something like that. And she just was just really loud and yelling at him, and then he eventually just like got up and like left. um Slammed the door really hard and like locked it. And if I recall too, I think the lock was not very good. Um like it had like double locks. Like it had that regular lock that you just turn, and then it had like a little chain on the side, or like a chain like above. Um or like a few inches above like the other lock. And she put that lock on, and she's infuriated um with what happened, and she turns around, looks at me, and she starts yelling at me, ¿Por qué le abriste la puerta a ese hombre? Like, why did you open the door to that man? she just grabs me so hard and she starts hitting me, and she's yelling, que no es que te pudo haber hecho algo. Like, don't you realize that he could have done something to you? Why would you open the door? And then she just keeps like hitting me hard. Um, and she's like yanking my hair, and I was crying, and I was just like so sad, and I was just like, but I think I was trying to tell her that I was scared because he told me to open the door to open the door for him, and he saw me, so I like what else could I have done? Like I was just like I didn't know what to do. Um and she's like yelling at me and just like she's going at me like hard. And then she sits me down in this chair. I remember that chair. I had to do a lot of like timeouts on that chair. um and I was crying, and I was like sad that she hit me so hard and that she yelled at me. Um And then in my head, I was just like, wait a minute. I remember seeing in a movie where the the main character who was a boy. Uh Actually, I think this might have been Free Willy in the the movie with the whale. Um where he called his mom stupid. And then or after okay, so I think his his mom, or like the lady that was supposed to be like his maternal figure, she I think she did something that hurt his feelings, so as a way to retaliate he called her stupid, and then she after that she said sorry to him, and then they talked it out, and then they I think they hugged it out, or I don't know, like, but they just they they apologized to each other, and I thought that I could do the same with my mom, and I didn't like that she hit me and that she yelled at me and didn't even like actually like try to listen to my side of the story. I thought that it would be a smart idea to call her stupid, so that way she feels sad, and then and then we say sorry to each other for hurting me. Oh my gosh, like my little kid logic. um and so I was crying on that one chair, and then I got the idea that like, oh, I'm gonna call her stupid. So I called her stupid. I just remember that she was like angry still, and like I think she was trying to like she was still trying to like do something like with the door, like to lock it and all. And then I was just like, mommy, you're stupid. And then the silence, like there was like a 5 second silence. She stared at me, and we're just staring at each other, and it's all silent. And then she comes charging back at me, and then she was like, ¿Qué me dijiste? And then she starts hitting me again. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I did not think she was gonna react that way. I thought she was gonna be crying because and I um and so like she like in English she is just like, what did you call me? And she's just like grabbing me hard again, like by the arms, and just like pulling, like she's like just pulling my body really like tightly and like shaking me. And she's all, no me vuelvas a decir eso. Don't ever call me that. You don't call your mother that. Tú no le dices eso a tu madre, okay? And I think she just like slammed me into like the chair, and then I was just crying in tears. And then it finally clicked in my brain that, oh, the boy in the movie was not Mexican. He was American. He spoke English. And the mom in the movie was also American, and she spoke English too. My mom's Mexican, and she speaks Spanish. And that was the day I found out that I was Mexican. And I was just like, oh, Mexican parents are different. They do not act the same way as American parents, or not unfortunately. Like no, there's like good like pros to my like well my mom being very protective. One it was one good thing that came out of her being just a very overprotective Mexican mom. I don't think she should have been as as hard on me as she was, but that was like my realization of how bad it could be if I made my mom angry. Like she was gonna hit me and she would hit me hard. And um yeah, so that was how I found out that I'm Mexican and that my mom's Mexican and that we do things a little differently compared um to most American families. Um and okay, so yeah, my feelings were for sure very hurt because I could not believe that this like she was probably like 27, 28 when she did that. I couldn't believe that this lady just like hit me so hard. She slapped me on the face like after I called her stupid. Like she just smacked me so hard on the cheek, and I was just like, I was just in tears. But I learned my lesson. Don't call her any bad words. And to this day, I don't use bad words at all. Like I don't know if it's like like a just like a learned behavior that I acquired that day, but for some reason, or no, that I do notice that I am very sensitive to how people speak to me. Um if someone uses like very harsh language with me, or a very harsh tone with me, like I instantly feel like I want to cry. I'm just like in shock, like how dare you, how could you, like what did I do to you? Why are you being mean to me? And I think now that I'm older now, I do realize like that I'm very, very sensitive to that, and I don't like it when someone speaks to me very harsh. It's like in a very harsh way. Uh, um, and I'm very sensitive to tone, like, and I didn't think it was like impactful on like towards me. But I do remember meeting this one guy like a few months ago, and I thought he was really cute, but he spoke to me in a really harsh way. And I've just felt it in my soul, like, oh no, how could he do that to me? And I just felt just like in my soul, I was just like, oh, like he spoke to me in a harsh way. And like maybe he didn't mean it. And also I want to say that I am very ultra sensitive. Like my sensitivity like is like really, really like heightened. Yeah, and actually I do have some sensory issues that I found out about like a few months ago, to be honest, like or like late of last year, I want to say. I also have hypervigilance, and I will like eventually speak on that in like in another podcast, another podcast episode. But yeah, that that was that was an interesting memory that like yeah the I in that situation I see why she reacted the way she did. She was probably scared, and also this was like I know he was a young man. I'm not sure, like I don't know if he was like a teenager, but even so, like I'm like my mom's not a very tall person. She was probably just like she was just scared and like trying to keep to like keep me and her safe. Um and yeah, she was she too hard on me? Yeah, I don't think she should have like been like shaking my body like that hard. And like and how like I say that she was like shaking my body a lot is just like it's as if it's as if like you're picturing like a doll being like just like played with too roughly, like just like imagine like a little kid, or like the way a dog just plays with their toy and then they just like shake it really like hard like when they're playing with it. That's kind of like what I would describe the feeling of how like she was acting with me. And uh yeah, even though she was extremely um hard on me that day, I did learn my lesson to not open the door no matter what. And I'm still kind of the same now. Like, I do not like it when anyone opens the door or like when anyone knocks at the door. And again, I don't know if this was like a learned, like, like, have you all heard of this experiment? Like, it's not a very good, like it was a very, um, like unkind experiment that happened like a long time ago, but it's called Pavlov's dogs, and it's where this scientist, I believe his last name was Pavlov, he was trying to like I think he was trying to see how like traumatic responses work, something like that. If anyone knows it better in detail, like please feel free to like share it better like than me, because I'm probably not getting it correctly. But um so what he was doing is just he was doing things to these dogs to see their reaction, and then like to also train them to be like afraid of certain behavior of like certain actions or behaviors. I'm not sure, but he was like that's basically what he was doing, is like training them to be afraid of something. But the way he did it, like he was trying to like he really was like trying to like psychologically break them, and just he was trying to see how far he could go. And again, I might not be describing it very well, so if anybody knows like a better way to describe what that situation was, like please like share it in the comments, or also like please do your own research on it. But I know that that's essentially what was going on. And so when it comes to that beat, that like I don't know if it's because of that day that's why I'm very like sensitive to like language and like different tones of voice. And like I don't like I instantly feel fear whenever I hear someone knocking at the door, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like and it's interesting because like I get really scared when I hear like a someone knocking on the door, and I don't know if it's because of that day that like I just learned that I was not supposed to open the door to like absolutely anyone. And while we were at those apartments, there were definitely a lot more creepy things that were going on. I do remember my uncle. I don't know if he lived with us or if he was just visiting us. My uncle was creepy. My sister also would always just start crying whenever he would be around, and also he was just always like trying to prank people, but I don't think he realized that it wasn't funny to the other person. And I remember there was this one time where I was sleeping, and my uncle and my mom were just like together in like the living room, and I was in the bedroom sleeping, and I was about to start waking up, and most likely my mom probably heard me like about to wake up, and maybe she sent my uncle over to check on me, or I like who knows. Um but also I remember my mom usually always left the door slightly open whenever I was asleep, or like when my siblings were sleeping. She would always like keep the door like slightly open. And I remember that he or well, I didn't know like that he was there at the time, but I remember just kind of being in that state where you're kind of awake, but you're also like half asleep still. And also I should also mention that my dreams are extremely vivid. Like I have been very like terrified of some of my dreams. And I'll speak on that like on a different pod or on a different episode. Um, but I was in that state where you're half sleeping and half awake, and I'm pretty sure I was just lying in the bed and like looking at the ceiling, and then I hear the door creak, like making like it was creaking. And then I also saw, like from where I was laying in the bed, I also saw it open very mysteriously. Like I couldn't see anybody like walking through the door, but I just like saw that the door was opening on like what it looked to me like it was opening by itself. And Then um I remember feeling like very freaked out, and I was like ready to cry for my mom. Um but then like I was just like lying there, and then like I was just like looking around, and then I just kind of heard very faintly, like I was hearing somebody move. Like I felt something heavy moving, like on the floor. And then I was just I think I was picturing like a dog or something, like, or just like some creature that was approaching me. And I remember getting my toys. I had like a little piano, like it was like a little plastic piano that I really liked. And I had that toy with me like almost like all the time. It was there, and I had like my blanket and like a few like plushy toys. And I remember grabbing them, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. I know something is on the floor. I can hear it like slowly coming towards me. I'm gonna get my toys, and I'm just gonna start throwing at whatever it is that's coming near me. And so I'm hearing again that there is like something approaching me. And I sit up, and I look directly at my uncle, he was trying to like prank me, or like he was trying to scare me, like to get me to be awake. But I saw him get scared, and like I did see him like that. He like jumped because like he was not expecting me to just like sit up and like just stare at him, like I know, I know what you're doing. You're trying to do something to me. And I just started chucking my toys at him, and he starts laughing, and then he just starts playing around with me. Um I remember feeling very frustrated and like very annoyed that like how dare he try to wake me up in such a mean manner. And he was just like messing around with me. Um, and still, I was still very creeped out by like what he did, and then also being in like the state that I was, like half asleep and half awake. It's no surprise why like my imagination was probably kind of going a little like haywire, because there is actually something going on, and on top of that, what like being half asleep, I like it was kind of like I was like mm, I don't know how to describe it, but like I think I want to say that just the vibe felt more creepier. And then now that I think of it, I should also mention that I have dealt with sleep paralysis several times in the past. Thankfully, I have not had to deal with it. Honestly, ever since I stopped talking to my mom. But I did have a lot of nightmares, interestingly enough, after like I like just cut contact with her. Um, I'll speak on that like in a different episode. So dreams were like really creepy too. But so then there was that experience at those apartments in Tempe. And I do remember I almost drowned once because my dad was not watching me properly. I don't know why, but I do feel like he tied me to like a rope or something, or like he tied a rope around me. I remember crying a lot when that was happening, and that both of my parents were just yelling at each other. And I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure that my dad had me like either like grab a rope, or like he like tied a rope around my body. I don't know. Maybe it might have been like one of those like life the little life rings, if that's what they're called. I'm not sure. But I just remember somehow like there was some sort of rope that was involved when I was almost drowning that one time. And my parents again, instead of like trying to like make sure that I was okay and all, they just argued and like, mira que le hiciste a la niña, pues tú que no la estás mirando, or look what you did to the girl when you're not looking, you're not taking care of her. And like they're just like constantly going back and forth and always blaming one another for why I was getting hurt, basically. um and then I know that the last straw of why my mom eventually like decided that we had to move away from there was because, actually, wait, hang on. Sorry, I needed a sip of my tea. Also, if you hear like a sound in the background, it's my fan. I'm in Arizona. It's really hot even indoors. Always have a fan on or near you. But anyway, the last straw of when that like pushed my mom to just finally be like so adamant to my dad that he needed to get us out of there. And also, I should also mention too, my dad was very, very, very irresponsible, extremely immature. Like, I feel bad for what my mom may have most likely had to put up with in very dire situations with my dad. Like, my dad is one of those persons that he's the worst type of person to rely on in any sort of emergency. Like, he's like, what is it, that saying that he's like a headless chicken? Like that he's just like he I don't know, like let's say that like someone's like bleeding out or something. What might cause that person to lose their life is the stress from my dad overreacting and just being so chaotic. And like, he yells a lot. And just again, he's like, I'll go deeper into it in another episode, but just so you know that he is very irresponsible. Like, he's still pretty much the same person. um and well on this specific day, I remember playing by myself, like near the window again. I was looking out the window and I was probably playing with like little dolls. Maybe they might have been Polly Pockets. I know I really loved collecting a lot of Polly Pocket dolls and like the little cases. Um, and my mom usually had the door open. Oh, actually, I do remember why. She either always had the window or the door open. It was because I think there was like something wrong with the ventilation, or she always like felt like she had trouble breathing, I think. And I probably had like allergies too from being there. I remember because after having lived there, like she just did not want to be at all like in any apartment. Like she always like preferred how like houses or like anything that wasn't an apartment like stacked on top of each other. And then like eventually like she told me later that the reason why she doesn't like apartments is because sometimes there can be issues with like the ventilation. And so the door was open and that was like kind of like the norm too. Or like kind of just something normal that I saw the when I was at home playing with my mom and my dad was home, that sometimes like they would leave the door open. Also, when this happened, my younger brother was born too. Um, so I was an older sister at this time too, and that also might have been another reason why my mom also was just very adamant about getting a new spot. Um, and so I'm playing out like by the window again, and I don't know why, but like I felt compelled to walk like outside, and I started playing with my figurines like there, like in the corridor, and we were on the second floor. And I was playing near like the balcony area, and there were gate like there's like a metal like what is the word is it barrier? Yeah, or well, there were metal bars there to like for safety reasons. And I don't know why, but um my toddler brain just decided um to like put like try to like slip through the bars. I don't know what I don't know. I like I was saying, I think I thought I was invincible, and then also I don't know if it was that like because I was a toddler, like trying to test my limits and all. I don't know. Um, but I was like trying to slip through the bars, and I think I was like also trying to like grab like the palm tree or something. There's like a palm tree next or like in proximity. And I remember there were some kids at the bottom that they were like pointing at me, and they were just like, "Mira, ¿qué está haciendo?" Like se va a caer la niña. And, like they're just like saying all these little things. And again, like I have no idea why, like what compelled me to think that that was a good idea. But I was like trying to slip through the bars, and um eventually I heard my mom yell really loud to my dad, like, Luis, la niña, mírala, ¿por qué no la estás viendo? Like, look at the, like, Luis, like, look, the girl, she's, like, why aren't you paying attention to her? And then my dad, I just remember my dad, like just grabbing me, like, really hard, and then, pulling me away from the bars, and I think I started crying, and I just um I think they talked to me, like they told me like that like I can't be doing that sort of thing, and that Well, my dad was like much nicer. He like talked to me and he was just like you can't do that. Like that was really dangerous. You could have been hurt. And my mom again, like she's always like been that dominating type of person. She's yelling at him like a lot and he's like she was probably yelling at me too, but I think I was just in tears. And maybe I might have been like really sad about something, to be honest. But I remember my mom saying, "Ves por eso, like that's why we can't be here anymore. Ya no quiero estar aquí. La niña casi se nos cae. The girl almost like she almost fell from the balcony." And she's freaking out. And then I think I don't know why, but like my mom also thought that the place was very like haunted too. Maybe that was something else that was going on. And like I said before, that Tempe does have a bit of a creepy vibe to it. And like even in certain parts when I'm driving by, I don't know what it is, but I'm just like there's something just eerie about this place. Like someone could film like a whole like horror movie there and like it would be very like fitting for the movie. Oh my goodness. And actually I there's certain parts like where I'm driving and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I got scared from something there, or like just something at that specific gas station or in that specific corner of that road. I'm pretty sure there was something that scared me, and I don't know what it was anymore. But like I don't know, it's like like the memory still is in my body. Like I wouldn't say it like feels like deja vu, but just something that's making me just very nervous and fearful for whatever reason. But after that, my parents eventually moved us temporarily to like this other apartment. I think it was kind of like a duplex. Um, like two homes like next to each other but not on top of each other. Um I don't I don't have any like clear vivid memories from there. But from what my mom has told me, she says that it was a very stressful time. That my dad, like, he didn't really want to move us like to someplace better, or I think he didn't want to pay more, for like a better quality home. But she said she was very stressful, or that she was very stressed out, like especially having me and now my brother, being a baby too. I know that I got like extremely sick from something, or I think I got like some sort of like, oh, I think I got like sick from like chicken pox, something like that. Because my dad let let this lady bring her child who had who was like contagious with chicken pox. She let them come over to our new home, and I ended up like catching whatever, I think it might have been chicken pox, but if it wasn't, like I know I got really sick from the time that we were in that spot. And I think my mom was also like just really stressed out too, because she didn't know like where did like this come from. And then eventually my dad was just he was just like, "Oh yeah, the neighbor's daughter," or I don't know if there are neighbors, but he just casually said, "Oh yeah, so and so's daughter was is sick with that too." And they came over to our house, and like he just casually said it, and then my mom just got so angry with him, and she was just like, "Why did you let them near near Dianita?" And um yeah, just this is another, like he was just not very responsible, and like he could provide for the family, but he was not present at all, or he was very addicted to the television, and he still is. If it's not the TV, it's his phone, um or like any other type of device, but it's the TV and his phone that he loves way more than any living being that is supposedly um is supposedly his family basically. But yeah, that was a very stressful time for my mom, and to be honest, I don't remember much about that specific apartments, or those specific apartments. I do feel like I remember a few creepy moments too. I think I was around other kids. uh Now looking back, or like the times that I've driven past that specific area, I'm just like, oh, like yeah, I see why my mom was like very like freaked out. Because yeah, the neighborhood that we were living in did not, like, still does not really feel like a very safe place. But eventually we did find a much better spot that was more spacious, and we had an actual garden too, like a whole yard. Um and it was for sure one of my favorite homes. My brother was also like pretty happy there. Uh, but like yeah, like we did get a nicer spot. But there were still things going on in the neighborhood that were not very safe. And oh, I think um when it was just me, my mom or my dad used to take me to their work. So my dad worked as a chef in Scottsdale, and so I have a lot of memories of going with him to his job, and most of the time I was just sitting like in the kitchen, just playing with like toys, and also I was just supposed to not be getting in the way of any of like the employees. And it was mostly because my mom was really, really scared of like leaving us alone with like a babysitter. Uh, and then when my brother was born, it did get a little tougher uh, because like now like my mom needed to work more, and my dad also needed to work more, and I was still like just a toddler, and there were obviously things that I couldn't do um to take care of my brother. So for a little bit she did leave us with a babysitter, like not like a immediate neighbor, but somebody in like within that community. She left us with somebody like within the area. But and I don't have like very clear memories of what I experienced. But for some reason, like my mom just like she just wasn't into it. Like she didn't like the we were alone with like complete strangers, and it's possible that like maybe like something might have like scared us, like me and my brother. Either it was that person who was supposed to be taking care of us, or maybe it was like an older kid. But when I started kindergarten, I remember that that was when I was like, oh, mommy, I can take care of Jose. My younger brother's name is Jose. And I also told her that I could walk to school by myself. And um I think again like I wasn't really thinking too much about like my safety just yet. And I also saw that the walk to school wasn't too far, and I also saw that there were other kids around, so I think that also kind of made it seem more like an adventure for me. And so I told my mom that like, mommy, like I can do it by myself. Like, I can walk to school. And I remember she kept asking me like, "Estás segura? Like you're like you can't talk to strangers, and when you're out by yourself, you need to go straight to school or straight home. Do not go to anybody else. And if you need help or you're lost, you go straight back to school." And oh, actually, I just remembered something. So my dad, the area that we moved to was a spot where like my dad had like some friends. They may have also been relatives. I believe they have like the same last name. But according to my mom, apparently they were always just being very like snarky towards her, and always like saying like mean things about me or about my brother, saying that we're taking up too much of like whatever it was that they had. Like they always had some sort of complaint about us. And my mom, well, that caused her a lot of stress because, like, I mean, who wants to be around someone who's constantly critiquing you? And my dad, he's very much always down for his friends, but when it comes to his family, it's always a burden. His family is always like and this was like supposedly his blood family. He gets annoyed whenever it comes to actually being there for his family or like being present. He would get so angry about it, and he would just his excuse was always like, "Ay, pues yo quiero estar con mis amigos," or well, "I would just want to be with my friends. Why don't you let me do anything?" And like I remember he would always say, pues así soy yo. That's how I am. What are you gonna do about it?" And again, like he was always just trying to do his own thing. Like when it came to his friends, he was always there for them. But when it came to something that he needed to do for the family, he was just like being upset and always complaining, like, "Oh, you like, why do you guys have to like need so much like from me?" And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." Or like, well, I didn't really like, I don't think it registered like in my head like how hurtful that was for me, but I know for my mom it was just very stressful, and the reason why they argued so much. But yeah, it from what my mom has told me, it sounds like the vibe of the people she was meeting in that small community, like it was just really toxic, and it was just like more stressful on her because she didn't want to leave us by ourselves. But at the same time, she didn't want us to be potentially hurt by some random person. Uh, and so it was very difficult. I remember that it like she was always like looking for a completely new person to watch us, and she was just never satisfied. And that was one of the reasons why I was just like, okay, I can do certain things by myself. Like it's okay. Like you don't have to worry about me, and I can be there for Jose too. Like I can do it. Like I'm not scared. And I eventually learned that there were some things that I could not do on my own because I was just a little girl too. Um, but yeah, that was something that I know caused my mom a lot of like stress. And even though we were in a better home, the community still was very unsafe. And uh actually, there were a few times where some random people came to like they were trying to like knock at the door, and me and my brother were there by ourselves, and we would just be so terrified because they were just random people, and maybe like they like got confused that like maybe they thought somebody else was living there, and like they just thought they could do what they wanted, like I remember this group of guys just like hitting the door so hard. This was at nighttime too. And me and my brother were just so scared, and I think we were hiding too. Like we hid in the bedroom. Um and we just waited until like they left. And um so there was like that, and I think eventually my mom came across these other ladies that said they could take care of us. Oh, and then another thing too. I think some of these people started to, or like they wanted to charge like way more like than like necessary. And my mom was like, again, like it sounds like the vibe of the community that we were in, it just sounds like it was really toxic. Or because my mom was just like, she just did not want to leave us like with anybody. And around this time too, she also got like extremely like protective too. Like this was like when she started to tell me that I was like not allowed to talk to people. And if I did, or if somebody like if she saw that someone was asking me questions, immediately she was like, ¿qué te dijo esa persona? ¿Y tú qué le dijiste? What did that person say to you, and what did you say to them? And as like a little girl, I think I was little, and also I was like more focused on trying to like be friendly with other people. And so I didn't really understand why she was acting this way. Um and also like why she got like so angry with me. But eventually, like over time, I did start to see that like yeah, some of the people around us were not very friendly people, and also their kids were not very friendly too. I do remember a few times where a much older kid try to like hurt me, or and then like pass it off as if they were playing, um or like I got like injured like in the middle of them trying to play some game, and they like never apologized or like showed any concern or like remorse for what they for like how they acted towards me. And so yeah, eventually my mom found these ladies that said that they would take care of us. One of these ladies, I remember her. She was very gluttonous and just obsessed with like eating a lot of food. I just remember that distinctively from her. And oh yeah, my mom also did not allow us to eat any food from those specific people that she was hoping would take care of us. Any food that we ate, it had to be from what she packed for us. And I do remember that with this lady, I don't like this gluttonous lady. I don't remember her name. I remember she had very pretty hair. Her hair was very curly. And um I also remember that she had like this sea green t-shirt that she wore often. I remember that of her. And I remember thinking that she was very pretty but very sloppy when it came to eating food, and that she would just like make all these weird noises when she was like eating, and that was just something that like I do remember distinctively. I was just like, she's really pretty, but I like when she eats, it's like ugh. And she was friendly, and like she laughed a lot, like so she wasn't necessarily like or ever mean to us, I would say. uh and I think that might have been why my mom did trust her, because she didn't come off like very malicious, I would say. But it was just that part with the food that I remember that I was just like, yeah, I don't know. Like I thought you were nice, but now I'm seeing a new side of you. And I just remember sometimes I like me and my brother would be eating breakfast, a breakfast that my mom packed for us, and me and my brother were just like trying to eat and all, and this lady, she was just making like all these noises, and she would try to like make jokes with us. I was probably too young to understand like what she was saying. And what else? And so I will say that I think it was relatively peaceful for the most part. We didn't really worry a lot about like her being mean to us or anything, and she usually just did her own thing and just did what my mom instructed her to do. My mom also told me not to accept food from anyone of whose house we were staying at, and uh yeah, I did I did like follow that rule pretty religiously, and then also the I also have always dealt with a lot of like I've always had like difficulties with food, and like so I already like kind of knew that there were certain foods that like I should not eat. And also I think this is like another like subject for a different episode, but uh yeah, like just don't eat any food that anyone offers, and no matter like how much they offer to you, you have to say no. You only eat food when you're at home, or you eat whatever my mom packed for that day. And with this lady, so it was like mostly peaceful, and I remember it was through that lady that I discovered what novelas were. And those are like soap operas, Mexican soap operas. But I remember feeling really scared when I would see them because I was not ever exposed to that type of media. Um, the only type of content that I had watched um for a majority of my life was like Sesame Street, Disney, uh like just like morning cartoons. Uh and that was like all that I was like exposed to for my early childhood. And so when I came across these novelas at this one lady's house, I do remember feeling like really scared, and I was like in shock that like of what I was watching. I was just like, why are a lot of the people usually in like underwear? Or why does like a lot of the guys, like, why don't they ever have shirts? And why is everyone always so like so angry? Or like why are they always like kissing each other? Like I remember just being like really weirded out by that. And I don't think I told my mom about this until a little bit later. And then also because she really like didn't want to leave us by ourselves. Because my brother Jose, he was very small too, and there was something like she needed an adult to be like taking care of him because I was too small. Um oh, and then also to like keep him on routine too. Like I also needed somebody to supervise me too. So yeah, that was like also another reason why I never like why I didn't speak up about like how sometimes this lady did some things that kind of weirded me out. Um and that she was always watching these odd shows on TV. And I do remember telling her that I wanted to watch like cartoons or something. Oh, and then my mom also packed like different movies like for me and my brother to watch. And she never let us play them. Or she would say that she would put them on, and she never did. And then the last straw for me was when she decided to watch this very iconic show of the early 2000s of Mujeres Casos de la Vida Real. Oh my gosh. I was so terrified by what I was watching, like whenever that show was on, and I remember feeling so scared. Um, and there was this one episode in particular where um this it was about this lady that like she was a new mom, and she needed somebody to like give her shots and everything. And so she went to a neighbor who had like this sign up about like how like she did like medical services and all. And so she entrusted that specific lady to give her these shots. And that lady, like, she was an older lady. Now, the actress's name, I believe her name is Maria Prado. I believe. I'm not sure. If anybody knows, let me know. Um, but her name was Maria Prado. And I'm pretty like I'm going to assume that she is a very lovely person in real life. She's just really good at playing villainous characters really well. And I think a lot of people recognize her at this point that she's almost always played very villainous like roles. Um and so Maria Prado's character was this older lady that was crushing on this new mom's husband. And also she was very jealous of how much her new of how much her husband loved her. And she plotted this plan to get rid of her. And she ended up using like a scorpion, like scorpion poison to get rid of her. And um and it doesn't show this like in like the actual show, but eventually it cut to a scene where Maria Prado's character is like dragging this garbage bag that has a lot of blood all over the place. And I remember seeing that scene and I was in tears and I was just in so much terror. I was so scared because I was like, oh my gosh, like what am I watching? And I don't think this lady was there like that day. I know she was on the phone all the time. And um so yeah, I remember just feeling so scared and I didn't know like. And then also like this was like the mom that she got rid of or that she unalived. uh she had a baby with her, or she always like came to get her shots when she had her baby with her, and the baby was just left out there. And we as the audience didn't know like what was gonna happen to like the baby. And then like the husband's getting worried and he has like his other two kids and he's like looking for like he's like desperate to look for his wife. And then like of course like they end up finding like he ends up going to the police and finding out that his wife was unalived by Maria Prado's character. And I just remember feeling so scared. And then I think I started getting nightmares. And I think that was how eventually my mom realized that I was being like scared all the time from going to this lady's house. And that I think that was when like she stopped taking us. And I do remember like she asked me, she was just like, okay, Dianita, ¿qué está pasando? Like, are you guys eating well? Is that lady doing anything to you? Like, what's going on? And then again, cause she was noticing that I was like scared of something. And then I told her that, well, like it's because this, like, la señora siempre tiene estas películas, or she's always playing these movies and they scare me. Like sometimes I see people who don't have any clothes on. Sometimes I see them like just kissing all the time, and or sometimes like they're hitting each other. Like, and I told her about that episode that of the casos de la vida real. And then so for anyone that doesn't know about the show was produced in Mexico, and it started about when um when like a little bit after this really like severe earthquake happened in Mexico City in, I believe, 1985. Um so that show was started to bring up awareness on very crazy situations that happened or that were happening a lot in Mexican society at the time. And the stories were based off of real life situations that people sent in. Like they wrote their situation into the production company, and then the production company would make a reenactment, and that was like the novela that we were watching, like from like our television. And so, well, eventually, just my mom was just so angry, and I don't know if like she ever told this lady anything, but she just stopped taking us. And um she still needed somebody to take care of us, and then eventually like she took us with these other ladies who were older, like who like yeah, they were older ladies, like probably in like their 40s, like younger than like teens and 20s. And my mom, again, like I don't like I think again like she just didn't really have a whole lot of quality options. So she kind of was just going off of like, okay, like they seem nice? Do they seem friendly? Okay, I'm gonna give it a go. Hopefully they take care of my kids and everything go like works out well. And again, like we still had to follow those rules that my mom had placed like on us, is that you do not eat any food that at these other people's houses. You only eat food that I pack. You only watch the movies I that that I like get for you. And I know with these older ladies we were a little bit more better taken care of. And I think things were pretty peaceful for the most part. I know, like, I'm pretty sure she told the next lady, like, please do not be watching like novelas, like with my kids around. Like, watch them on your own private time, but do not watch them while my kids are there. Like, please play these other kid movies for them. And I think around this time she also became like more religious too. And like I mean it makes sense like why like she became so religious. And then also she was also probably noticing that the less religious a person was, the more chaotic they were. Or like that's what it seemed like to her. And um yeah, like after that, like she tried to find people who like were either like she met at church, or just people who seemed like they followed religion too. And yeah, when she moved us with these older ladies, like they were for sure much more responsible with us, with me and my brother, and we were pretty happy for the most part. But I'm like when I'm thinking back to like some of these memories, I'm just like I feel very conflicted. Like I know my mom was very hard on me, and that like yeah, she probably like she shouldn't have been like too um physically hard on me. um I get why she acted the way she did. Like, she was focused on trying to protect us. And she wanted me to, like, get the lesson, like, now. Like, I needed to learn my lesson now. Like, so if the only way to get it through my head that I needed to listen to whatever she tells me to do, and if she has to be really hard on me and that's the only way to get through to me, then that's what she was gonna do. And uh like I just like feel very very sad, like, to be honest. Like, it just how my mom really was just trying to manage the household with my dad not being very present with us. Or oh, and then also she's trying to earn her own money. And then also around this time, she was also clashing a lot with my dad. Again, it's because anytime that she really needed something important for all of us as the family, he just didn't want to do it, and like he would get angry with her and they just kept on fighting with each other. And so around that time, like, things also started to escalate more. And my mom was also like thinking about like getting divorced from him too, because it was like, and I get why. Because he was very disrespectful to her, and also he was very disrespectful to me. Um, and I think I also remember telling him that, like, I don't think you like kids because you always give us dirty looks. And then he started to be like, no, yo sí los quiero. Or no, I do love you guys. Siempre les compro regalos, ¿qué no? Or like, I always buy you presents, no? And I would tell my mom too, like, I was like, I don't know, like, it feels like my dad doesn't like us. Like, he does get us toys and all, but it's like he always like feels really annoyed that we're there with him. And also, I it was pretty easy for both me and my brother to tell that my mom was clearly more better at taking care of us, like we were actually safe. And I will probably go into that deeper in another episode about how my dad was difficult. um oh my gosh, this episode is 2 hours almost. So I'll try to finish it up so that way I don't bore anyone. And also I have enough story times for the next episode. But yeah, that was just like the reality of being in an immigrant family here in the States, especially with both of my parents not having any sort of like um proper like education, like what is the word, like both of my parents like not having any proper schooling, and also having a very limited experience of social dynamics, of real life like relationship experience. Like, they really were like in survival mode the entire time. And my mom especially, like, there was so much against her, and I will eventually like speak more on some of what she went through personally, and it's very difficult to think about like what my mom went through before she had me, and how me being born, like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think my mom wanted kids. And also I think if she had the choice, she would have preferred to not have had me or my brother, or maybe like she would have preferred to have had us when she was established on her own, like career wise. But that was just not the reality of where where her starting ground was for life. And the only way she finally got some sort of freedom for herself was when she had me. And that came with a whole new set of challenges. Um, and those are things that like I will go into in another episode. But I guess like part of me feels sad, but also very thankful that my mom, even though she was going through so much on her own, like psychologically, I know for sure my mom probably was still fighting the ghosts of every single thing that caused her harm when she was in Mexico, and then when she was trying to adapt to this new society that she was in. I know that she was always like fighting all this like mess, like I like the ghosts of past trauma, of past pains, I mean. But even though she was going through that, she still tried really, really hard to to protect me and my brother, and to most of all to protect our innocence. And I'm very thankful that she did, even though she smacked me really hard a lot of the time. Um, she protected me from the worst types of dangers, and I'm thankful that she tried her best to preserve our innocence for like as best as she could. And yeah, so that way I don't leave on a bittersweet note. Some positive things that happened were I was always doing pretty well in school, and my mom was usually pretty happy about that. And I think also like I'm trying to think of like very positive moments. Hmm. So I, like I don't know if I'm just not if it's just not coming to me, but yeah, like around that time life started to get very like difficult for me too. Because again, like I was saying, that my mom was constantly fighting these ghosts of past pains that she went through. She had a very, very, very volatile temper, and she almost always took it out on me. And that was very psychologically damaging to me as a little girl. Like I'll go deeper into that in like a separate episode. It's a lot to take in. But positive memories that I do have of living there were, and this is like in Tempe, were that the my dad, because he was very obsessed with TV, he was willing to pay more to get cable for us, and the pro of that was that I got more access to different cartoons. And then I also discovered MTV. So that was like for sure the highlight of every day, just waking up extra early to watch my favorite cartoons and to watch MTV. And I remember I was very, very amazed with this one Madonna video. I believe it's the song Sorry. It's from the album Confessions on the Dance Floor, something like that. But I do remember like being enthralled with like all like the colors that I was seeing, and then also I liked the song, and that was the first time I was introduced to French. And I was just like, oh, I want to learn how to speak French too. And that was also how I discovered Janet Jackson, her All For You album that had released around like around that time, and I remember thinking that she was one of the most beautiful persons I'd ever seen, and I was just so enchanted by her. And also like the music video, like All For You, had a very colorful vibe to it, so it makes a lot of sense why I was just like, whoa, like this is so cool. Like I love it. Oh, I also discovered Disney Channel around that time too. And I discovered the Cheetah Girls. I was obsessed with them all throughout my childhood. And oh my gosh, I just remember thinking that, like, oh, my dad's obsession with TV turned out to be good after all. And what else did I like at the time? Oh, I loved Winx Club. And oh my gosh, what else did I like? Oh, Blockbuster was a thing back then. My dad always took us to Blockbuster too. And see, so when it came to like media and like devices, technology, thankfully that's where like it was good with my dad. Like he was and still is very obsessed with a screen, and he cares more about the screen than he does about us. But at least he was generous enough to share it with the whole family, and like that was that was something that I did enjoy a lot too. Um yeah, I do remember waking up, or so he would usually wake up at like 4 a.m. to get ready to go to his first job at a golf course. And I remember this one time. or very like several times where I would wake up around the same time as him because I wanted to watch um my favorite cartoons, and if I woke up early, I would be able to get a little bit of MTV, and then it would be like right on time, like when my favorite shows would start. And so I would be waking up at around the same time as him, but because like I was supposed to be sleeping, I would just pretend to be sleeping, and also I would try to wait until he was like out of the house so that way I could go like turn on the TV and like click the channel like over to like MTV because that was usually always going on, and um like at any hour, and I just needed something to keep me entertained until like my favorite cartoons came up. And there was one time where he came back to the house unexpectedly, and I was just like, like, um, I was supposed to be in my room sleeping, and then like he saw me, and then he was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you not in bed?" And I just like started, like, I was like I thought quickly, and I was just like, "Oh, it's because I miss you, and te quería dar un abrazo. I just wanted to give you a hug before you left, and it's because I don't see you very often, and I miss you." And so I told him that that was why I was awake, and then he was just like, pues al rato vamos a la tienda, okay? Okay. He just um and I just remember pretending to go to sleep on the couch and like giving him a hug and all, and I was just like, okay, bye. Um and then and he just left, and I was just like peeking out the window and like trying to see like, is he really gone this time? And then when I saw that like he finally left the driveway, I was like, okay, now I can go watch MTV. And yeah, oh my gosh, I used charm on him and it worked. um but yeah, I think that's enough for this episode, which is all about how I discovered that we were a Mexican family, and um how our way of living was completely different from the lifestyles that I was observing from the characters in TV who were usually American or Canadian or Japanese if I was watching anime. And yeah, like those are just some memories that I had, and unfortunately Tempe is kind of a mm, like I have like mixed feelings on the city of Tempe because there's just been so many creepy experiences that I've had and that my mom has had too. Um and yeah, like that's like what I just like what I shared was like just part of what happened when we were still there, and eventually like we ended up leaving Tempe to move to a very small town east of Arizona, and that would eventually be my home for up until like adulthood. So those are more stories that I will share in another episode, but thank you so much for listening to Wandering Thoughts of the Muse and for hanging in there my imperfect speech and my chaotic thoughts that just are all over the place. Um, like, share, and subscribe if you want to. You can check out all of my other creative work on Substack and my artist website. Actually, my artist website is down right now. It will be coming back up eventually. Oh, I'm also on Kara. If you Kara, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's an artist portfolio app. You can find my artwork on there, and also you can check Instagram for more of my artwork and some Arizona adventures. Um, and yeah, I still like being in Arizona despite all these creepy stories or creepy experiences. Um, but yeah, I will for sure make another video or audio on why I like Arizona and what I don't like about Arizona. And overall, I'm thankful that this was my home for majority of my life. And also that this was where my parents were able to establish a home for us. And yeah, before I get off into like more tangents, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Daydreaming Muse and check out my artwork, stories if I remember to put them. But I'm on Instagram, Kara, Substack, artist website will be coming on soon. I'm here on YouTube, and just I'm like just check out anything that you want. And I will see you all or talk to you all in another episode. And until then, I hope you are all safe wherever you are at. You have everything you need and you're in good health. Thank you so much for listening and nos vemos.